The council's great chamber was silent. 30 alien species sat around a glowing circle of light. Each one different scales, feathers, crystal skin, glowing eyes, but all shared the same emotion. Fear. They were watching the screen at them. Center, it showed Earth, blue oceans, storms swirling over continents. But their fear wasn't about Earth's weather. It was about its people. The image zoomed in. Human cities sparkled with light. Ships flew through space docks. Massive factories built machines faster than the council's best engineers. The humans were advancing too fast. In just 200 years, they had gone from launching rockets to building fleets that could reach Jupiter in hours. They are expanding again, said Supreme Speaker Valthar, his voice like metal grinding stone. He was from the Aranthi, a species made of living steel. They've placed satellites beyond Mars. A colony ship heads for Europa. They ignored our last message, hissed Lixa of the Thari. She had long, flexible limbs and black eyes that never blinked. They grow stronger, bolder, they think. We are weak. They don't know the balance, said Jorak, the soft-voiced elder of the Hikari. We've kept peace for 10,000 years. They weren't invited. Now they challenge us. There was silence again. Then the council's central. Ohar B pulsed blue. A voice echoed across the chamber. Earth must be warned. It was a decision made by vote. The majority agreed. A message would be sent to Earth's leaders. Not a threat, but a warning. Speaker Valthar nodded once. Make it clear. They are not to expand further. The outer planets are off limits. Any further action will be punished. On Earth, the warning arrived 2 days later. President Eleanor Grant stood in the war room, the message floating above the table in shimmering light. She listened in silence, arms crossed. Generals stood beside her. Advisors watched nervously. The alien voice was calm, cold, and clear. You are warned. Your expansion must stop. The outer planets belong to the Council. This is your only warning. Obey and remain safe. Disobey and face consequences. The message ended. No one spoke. Then General Kyle Mason stepped forward. They're scared. President Grant looked at him. Explain. If they weren't scared, they'd attack. But they're warning us instead. That means we've grown. Stronger than they expected. Another general added, it's a test. If we back down, they'll control us forever. If we push forward, we risk war. The room went quiet. Then the president spoke. Send no reply. The generals looked at each other. No reply? Mason asked. None, she said. Let them wait. Meanwhile, prepare Operation Spearhead. The lights in the room dimmed. Everyone understood what that meant. Earth was not backing down. It was preparing to strike first. The Council waited. And waited. But no message came back from Earth. Not a single word. The Aranthi built more warships. The Thari positioned drones around Saturn. Other species prepared defense grids near their colonies. Still, Earth said nothing. Then came the first signal. An explosion. A listening post near Jupiter, operated by the Thari, vanished. No distress call. No survivors. Only a faint energy wave remained, showing signs of advanced human plasma weapons. The Council gathered again in the great chamber. This time, their voices were loud, angry, afraid. They struck first. Shouted Lixa. This is war. Valthar pounded the table. We warned them. They ignored us. Now they strike in silence. But where are their ships? Asked a thin, glass-skinned alien from the Varlan species. Our sensors saw nothing before the attack. How? Did they do it? No one had answers. Then the Council made a second decision. Prepare for war. Back on Earth, Operation Spearhead moved forward. But no one outside the highest command knew. Even Earth's own citizens were kept in the dark. All over the solar system. Human ships seemed to vanish. Patrol fleets stopped reporting. Cargo lines paused. It looked like Earth had gone quiet, but it hadn't. Its warships had simply turned invisible, thanks to a breakthrough in stealth technology. Earth's new ships could cloak themselves in electromagnetic shadows. They became ghosts, undetectable, silent, and deadly. These ghost fleets were now moving toward key council targets. General Mason stood aboard the Solar Spear, Earth's most advanced warship, watching the stars drift by. "We've reached the edge of Sector 9, his pilot said. Mason nodded. "Begin Phase 2. No survivors, no warnings." Elsewhere, 5 more ships moved in formation. Their targets were unguarded outposts, data satellites, and relay stations used by the Council to spy on Earth. Each target was hit with speed and precision. No broadcast. No trails. Just silence. The Council went into full panic. Systems went dark. Colonies lost contact. Drones were destroyed before they could scan their attackers. In every chamber, the same question echoed. How is Earth doing this? Valthar stood over a map showing dozens of red marks, locations of attacks. "This isn't random. They're disabling our eyes and ears. They want us blind," whispered Jorik. "Then they'll strike our hearts." A deep chill filled the room. For the first time in history, the Council feared they might lose control. Then, a new voice entered the chamber. Ambassador Relo of the Fintari, one of the smallest, weakest species, stood alone. "Perhaps we brought this on ourselves." Eyes turned toward him. "What did you say?" Valthar asked coldly. "We warned Earth. We gave them threats, not respect. We feared them, but we never tried to understand them. Maybe now they're just showing." "You ask who they are." Lixa hissed in anger. "They're wild animals. They must be hunted down," but others looked uncertain. For the first time, some began to wonder, had the Council made a mistake? On Earth, President Grant watched the results of the operation. 12 targets, all destroyed. No losses, yet she looked troubled. "Any reply from the Council?" she asked. "No, Madam President," her aide replied. "Just silence." "They're stunned." She nodded. "Good." Then she looked at her generals. "Now we speak." She turned to the camera. A message would go out across all systems, across all species. Earth would speak to the galaxy. President Grant stood tall, her voice calm and steady. "You warned us. You threatened us. You expected us to kneel. But we are not built for kneeling." She paused. "We are built for standing tall, for defending our own. And when threatened, we strike." She leaned closer to the camera. "You thought Earth was alone. But you never understood who we are." The broadcast ended. The message was short, but its impact was massive. All across the stars, species who once ignored Earth now listened. Some whispered in private, "Maybe humans aren't the monsters. Maybe they're the answer." Others grew more afraid, rushing to build more weapons. But it was too late. Humanity had already shown its teeth. And they weren't going to close their jaws now, because Earth had heard the warning, and Earth had answered. With silence, fire, and shadow. The war room was dark, lit only by glowing blue lights that blinked across a large central table. Holograms of star systems rotated above, showing tiny human ships marked in green and council space marked in red. No one in the room spoke. They were waiting. President Eleanor Grant entered quietly, wearing a black coat with the Earth Union crest on her shoulder. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were sharp. She walked straight to the table and spoke just 2 words. "Status." "Report." General Kyle Mason stepped forward. He was tall, with short gray hair and a voice like stone. "Phase 1 is complete. We've taken out 12 surveillance posts near Jupiter, Neptune, and the Oort line. No human losses. The Council didn't see us coming." President Grant nodded. "Good. And our fleet?" "Hidden. Exactly as planned," he said. "Ghost Protocol is fully active. 90% of our Navy has vanished from known routes. Even civilian tracking systems have nothing. And the AI? She asked. A soft female voice answered from the table itself. Operational, said Halia, Earth's primary command AI. I am managing all stealth fleets, communications blackout, and misinformation networks. The galaxy believes we are retreating. Grant folded her arms. We are not retreating. No, Mason said with a cold smile. We're getting ready. She looked at the table. A small green marker blinked near a council military zone. What is that? She asked. Something new. Halia replied. The council has moved a Dreadnought-class battleship near Titan. They're expecting a full attack. Grant raised an eyebrow. We won't give them one, not yet. Mason nodded. Let them sweat. For the next hour, they discussed Phase 2 of Operation Spearhead. It was more than a military strike. It was a psychological war. The plan wasn't just to win, it was to make the council doubt every move, question every signal, fear every shadow. They were going to make the galaxy afraid of the dark. But even as they prepared, President Grant knew the risks. The council had numbers, power, experience. Humanity was still young compared to most of them. One wrong move and the planet could be wiped out. Still, she didn't waver, because Earth had something the council never expected: unity, speed, and the will to act first. On the moon, inside a hidden bunker, two engineers whispered while working on a massive engine. You think they're really going to war? Asked Malik, wiping sweat from his brow. His partner Jenna looked around to make sure no one was listening. They already did. You didn't hear? The listening posts near Neptune vanished. Vanished? He asked. You mean destroyed? I mean no trace, no bodies, just gone. Malik frowned. I thought the council was the powerful one. Jenna leaned close. Yeah, but we've got something they don't. What's that? She tapped her head. Brains and guts. Above them, the massive prototype engine pulsed with silent energy. It would power Earth's next-generation stealth ships. Ships. Faster than anything in the galaxy. In deep space, the solar spear moved without sound. It drifted slowly, invisible to scanners, hidden behind the radiation of a dead star. Inside, General Mason stood with Captain Reyes, reviewing new targets. They've moved another surveillance post near Saturn, Reyes said. They're trying to tighten the noose. Mason stared at the display. Then we'll cut the rope. He tapped the screen, marking it red. Ship number 3, move to intercept. No warnings. Use silence protocols. The orders were sent with a blink of light. A second later, across space, a hidden human cruiser activated its drive and vanished. From the radar, they wouldn't fire missiles. That was too loud. They would shut the post down with energy drains, EMP bursts, and nanite infiltration. The crew inside wouldn't even realize the ship had been hit. They'd just fall asleep and never wake up. Earth was fighting with shadows now. No glory, no banners. Just precision and fear. On the council homeworld, panic spread like wildfire. Inside a large crystalline chamber, Speaker Valthar shouted at his generals. We warned them. They ignored us. Now they strike from the dark. Lix of the Thari hissed. They are cowards. They don't face us in battle. They sneak. That makes them smart, said Jorak quietly, and dangerous. One of the younger commanders, Kavak of the Draken, slammed his clawed hand on the table. We have the numbers. We have fleets. Why do we wait? Valthar turned to him, eyes glowing red. Because we don't know where to strike. Our sensors see nothing. Our spies report nothing. Earth has vanished from the stars. He waved a hand and a screen showed known star routes. Before human ships traveled here. Here and here, he pointed. Now, nothing. They've stopped talking, stopped moving. It's like they don't exist. Another counselor added, or worse. They're everywhere, and we just can't see them. The thought sent a chill through the room. Jorak leaned forward. Maybe we should talk to them, Lixus snarled. Talk? After they attacked our outposts? Talking may be the only way to avoid full war, Jorok replied, but Valthar shook his head. We warned Earth. They chose war. Now we give them war. The room was split. Half wanted to attack. Half wanted to negotiate. But Earth was not waiting. Earth was already moving. President Grant stood alone in her office, staring at a photo on the wall. It showed Earth from the moon, half blue, half dark. A symbol of balance. A symbol of fragility. Her aide entered. Helia has an update. Let's hear it. The IS voice echoed from the ceiling. The Council has split its fleet. 30% now patrol outer systems. Others guard core worlds. Grant frowned. They're spreading themselves thin. Yes, Helia said. They expect a head-on attack. They do not understand our strategy. Perfect, she said. We don't want war in one place. We want their whole system shaking. Ma'am, the aide said, some are calling you too aggressive. The media. I don't care what they call me, she said. They didn't see the Council's message. They don't understand what would have happened if we just obeyed. She turned from the photo and looked out at the stars. If we kneel now, we'll never stand again. Meanwhile, in deep space, Earth's Ghost Fleet launched Phase 2. Ship after ship began sabotaging Council relay stations. Small drones planted viruses in communication lines. Military files were erased. Propaganda stations shut down mid-broadcast. And, in the middle of all this, Earth remained quiet. No threats. No declarations. Just silence. And the silence was terrifying. On a Council mining world, a security team found every door in the base open. Lights flickered. Computers dead. Every soldier asleep, unharmed, untouched. A message was burned into the wall with plasma fire. We see everything. That was all. The footage went viral across Council networks. And suddenly, fear became something worse. Doubt. If Earth could walk into their stations without being noticed, how many places were already compromised? The Council called another emergency meeting. Enough, Valthar roared. We must strike their homeworld now, Lixa agreed. A full invasion. Turn their oceans to glass. Jorok raised a hand. And what if we fail? What if they are already inside our systems? What if they are waiting for us to attack? There was silence. Then a soft voice spoke up. It was Ambassador Rello, the small and thoughtful Fintari. I think Earth has already won. Everyone turned toward him. What nonsense is this? Valthar growled. Relo stood calmly. They have made us afraid, divided, blind. They strike without sound. They move without trace. While we argue, they act. His words hung in the air. For the first time, the Council realized something. Earth was not acting like a young, reckless species. Earth was acting like a master strategist. Back on Earth, the final phase of preparation had begun. In a hidden shipyard near Pluto, a new class of warship was being built. Smaller than Council battleships, but faster, smarter, and completely invisible. General Mason stood watching it float for the first time. She doesn't have a name yet, the engineer said. Mason stared at the sleek black hull. Let the Council name her when it's too late. The ship turned toward the stars. Its engines hummed once, then vanished into silence. The galaxy would never see it coming. Stars flickered like distant sparks in the black sky. The Council's listening post, Gamma 12, floated silently near the edge of Saturn's rings. It was home to 24 alien workers and 6 patrol drones. Every 12 hours they sent a status signal to the Council Command Center. Today, that signal never came. Inside the post, alarms never sounded. There were no explosions, no warnings. The lights dimmed slowly, the temperature dropped, and the base's systems quietly shut down. No one had time to scream. One by one, the crew fell unconscious in their chairs. Their life signs were stable, but their minds were offline, as if switched off like a machine. Outside the station, a ship shaped like a black dagger floated near the rings. It had no markings. It made no sound. And it was already gone. In Earth's war room, the images came. Target Gamma 12 neutralized. Halia the AI reported calmly. No casualties, no evidence left behind. General Mason nodded slowly. Good, that's how we do it. President Grant stood beside him, her arms crossed. Are the council tracking us? She asked. Not yet, Mason said. They're still looking for missiles and loud weapons. But we're not giving them that. Halia added. We have struck 6 surveillance stations and 2 minor bases. Every target disabled without destruction. Every crew unconscious. No life lost. But fear high. Grant didn't smile, but her eyes showed approval. We're showing them a new kind of war, she said. No noise, no flame, just the unknown. Mason leaned over the table and tapped a blinking red point. This one next, he said. Council Supply Node Sector Delta. Grant nodded once. Do it. In deep space, the solar spear moved. Behind the gravitational shadow of an ice giant. The crew was silent, each motion practiced and calm. Their training had prepared them for large battles, but this was different. Now, they were ghosts. Captain Rhea stood at the front of the bridge. Her eyes fixed on the dark. Time to target? She asked. 23 minutes, said her first officer. Stealth systems active. They won't see us, Reyes nodded. We only get one chance. No alarms, no signals, clean and quiet. The officer hesitated. Ma'am, are we sure about this tactic? It's working now, but the council won't stay blind forever. Reyes looked at him. That's the point. Let them feel blind. Let them panic. We don't want them to fight back. We want them to question everything. Behind them, a soft voice came over the comms. Drone teams ready. She gave the signal. Begin. Tiny pods detached from the solar spear, each one carrying thousands of nanites and stealth tech. They zipped forward, silent as wind, toward the target station, a fuel depot serving 3 nearby council colonies. As the pods reached the station, they latched onto the walls. Nanites spread inside like smoke through. Air vents and wires. Lights blinked once. And then nothing. All systems inside the station froze. Gravity stopped. Lights went dark. The council workers inside gasped as oxygen thinned. Backup systems failed. Then, without warning, the lights came back on. Everything seemed normal. But the data systems were wiped, and the guidance controls were fried. Their ships couldn't launch. The fuel pumps were dead. The whole station was now useless. One crew member, a green-skinned pilot named Tavir, stared at the control screen. Who did this? He whispered. Another worker answered in fear. There was no attack, but something happened. Look at the logs. They're empty. Someone was here. They didn't see the blinking message on the wall panel. You are not safe. You were never safe. Back in the council's main command chamber, chaos had taken hold. Valthar stood before the council, voice sharp and angry. This is no longer a guessing game. 9 outposts disabled, ships grounded, systems erased. This is war, and we are being hunted. Lixus slammed a metal claw on the table. They don't want territory. They don't want peace. They want us scared. Jorek's voice was soft. They don't need to invade us. They only need to break our trust. If no base is safe, if no post can be trusted, our empire falls from within. Another counselor added. They've done all this without killing. They control the battlefield without firing a shot. Someone whispered, it's like they're everywhere. The chamber grew cold. Valthar growled. Then we strike back. We burn Earth down. No more warnings. Jorek raised a hand. Wait, if they haven't killed us yet, Perhaps there's still a way to stop this. Valthara's eyes narrowed. You want peace? I want survival, Jorek said. But Valthar would not listen. We are the Council. We ruled the stars. Before Earth left its own moon. We will not be hunted by shadows. He ordered a full military alert. All ships to battle positions. Earth would be hit hard. And soon. But the order came too late. Earth had already moved far across the stars. The new stealth ship Phantom 9 reached its next target, the Council's communication relay hub in the Alpha Sector. It was the largest data transmitter in Council space. Every message, every command signal passed through it. Captain Elaine Morris sat calmly in her seat. Helia, is the worm ready? She asked. The AI replied, Worm virus ready. Once uploaded, it will clone all Council signals and reroute data to our shadow servers. And the crew? She asked. No need to harm them. They won't know we were here. Then proceed, Morris said. The ship didn't fire a weapon. Instead, it sent a single invisible signal into the relays. Core. The virus slipped in like a whisper, bypassing firewalls, cracking code silently. The lights inside the station blinked. Then everything seemed normal again. But the damage was done. From that moment on. Every Council message, every fleet order, every command Earth saw it all. Morris leaned back. They won't even know we're reading their playbook. Helia replied. They won't need to know. We've already turned the game. A day later, President Grant stood before the Earth Alliance Council leaders from every region, every colony. Some were worried, some angry, others silent. You've taken aggressive action, one leader said. Many fear retaliation. We didn't start this war, Grant said. The Council did. They warned us, not because we were a threat, but because we were growing. They wanted to keep us down. Another asked, but why fight in silence? Why not just defend ourselves openly? She answered clearly, because the Council respects power, not peace. They understand fear. We're not just fighting to win, we're showing them something they never expected. That humans are not prey. A younger governor spoke up. And when they strike back? What then? Grant paused. They won't strike back. Because they won't know how. That night, a new message played on every Council broadcast channel. It came without warning, hacking through protected networks. It showed no face, just a voice and an image of Earth's flag. You searched for our ships and found none. You prepared for a war we never gave you. You tried to contain us. But we are not your servants. The voice was strong, calm. We strike only when needed. We kill only when we must. But if you keep pushing, we will no longer show restraint. Then came the final words. Your shadows belong to us now. Choose your next move carefully. And the screen went black. Valthar watched the message in silence. His hands trembled slightly. They hacked our secure lines, his aide said. Our encryption is compromised. He said nothing. For the first time, Valthar, made of metal and born from war, felt something close to fear. They don't fight like we do, he finally whispered. No, the aide said. They fight smarter. Back on Earth, the command room was calm. Quiet. General Mason stood next to Halia's glowing core. Do you think they'll attack? He asked. Halia answered. No, they are now guessing. They will hesitate. Fear breaks the will before war ever does. Mason nodded slowly. Good, let's keep them guessing. Behind him, the stars burned steady. But Earth had changed the rules. The Council expected fire. Instead, they got shadows. The galaxy no longer slept. In every system under Council control, ships floated above cities. Security drones patrolled markets. Communication towers pulsed red with alerts. The silence from Earth had been terrifying. But what followed silent? Attacks, stations disabled, data wiped, was worse. Now, the Council watched the stars with wide eyes. On the desert world of Zirin, Children were told to stay inside after sunset. On the water-covered moon of Krisha, fishermen stopped going out at night. Fear did not arrive with sirens, it came with nothing. No warnings, no explosions. Just systems going dark and the cold feeling that something had been there. And left. Inside a high tower on the council's core world, the oldest counselor, Jorak, sat with his hands folded. "I warned them," he whispered. A young aide stood nearby. "Warned who, sir?" Jorak didn't answer. He was watching the news screen showing images from yet another station that had gone offline. No smoke, no fire. "Just gone. Earth doesn't fight like us," he said. "They understand fear better." "Then war." The aide shifted uncomfortably. "Should we contact them?" Jorak gave a tired smile. "They already hear everything we say." On a mining colony in the Charos Belt, a group of alien workers gathered around a screen. They had just seen a message brief, chilling and written in perfect council language. "You are not our enemy, but we are watching." One of the miners, a scaled being named Reth, shook his head. "They didn't kill anyone," he muttered. Another asked, "Then why do I feel like we're already lost?" Reth looked up. "Because they're not trying to conquer planets. They're trying to conquer fear itself." The others stayed quiet. None dared argue. Far away, in Earth's primary command center beneath Antarctica, President Eleanor Grant stood at a long glass table. Maps of the galaxy hovered in the air, glowing with red and blue points. Halia's voice filled the room. Council reaction is predictable. Increased patrols, full lockdowns, internal conflicts rising between species. General Mason nodded. "They're crumbling." Grant's eyes remained on the map. "We haven't fired a single public weapon, no planet invaded, no lives taken. And yet, they're treating us like gods of war." Mason chuckled once. "That's because we made them feel powerless." Halia added, "And beings who feel powerless often destroy themselves." Grant turned to her generals. "Next phase?" "Already underway," said Mason. "We're leaking fake human fleet coordinates through their channels. Their forces are chasing ghosts." "Any chance they catch a real ship?" she asked. "Zero," Halia replied. "All human assets remain cloaked. Every chase is a dead trail." Grant looked thoughtful. "Let them waste their strength chasing shadows. That's how we win, not with fire, with fear." In the Council's military headquarters orbiting the gas giant Fezra, Commander Riven slammed his fists on the table. "This is nonsense. Our sensors are the best in the galaxy. How are we losing?" His second in command, a creature with silver fur and 4 eyes, answered carefully. "Because we're not fighting ships. We're fighting doubt." "Then kill the doubt," Riven shouted. "Attack Earth now with everything." "There's a problem," the officer said. "We don't know where their main fleets are. Their energy signatures don't match any known patterns. They've vanished." "Then strike their homeworld." "We tried, sir. 2 cruisers entered the Sol system. Both disappeared." Riven froze. "Disappeared? No debris, no signals, just gone." The room went silent. Riven sat down slowly. For the first time, the great warrior had nothing to say. The panic spread faster than any ship. Markets crashed in 3 council trade hubs. Merchants refused to send cargo ships to human-controlled zones. Colonists begged for evacuation. Whole planets disconnected from the central network, fearing human infiltration. On one world, civilians burned statues of the council leaders, shouting that Earth should rule instead. And on another, a secret message appeared on thousands of screens. They listen, they learn, they strike without sound. Earth is already here. It wasn't true, but it didn't matter. Truth didn't matter anymore. Fear had taken hold. In a hidden Earth observation ship orbiting a council capital, Agent Vega watched the chaos unfold. She sat inside a dark pod, her face lit only by data. Screens. Planet-wide panic confirmed, she whispered into her mic. No resistance. No attempts to trace us. A calm voice replied. Proceed to step 2. Psychological imprint upload. She tapped a few keys. The ship sent a soft wave of harmless pulses down to the surface signals that would slightly disrupt Council thought streams. No damage, just confusion, nightmares, restless sleep. She smiled faintly. Let the galaxy dream of Earth. Back. In the Council chamber, the panic had reached the leadership. Valthar stood in the center of the room, breathing heavily. His steel skin shimmered with stress. I will not sit here while our people lose faith. He turned to the others. They think Earth is everywhere. They think we are dying. I will show them that we are not weak. He raised a hand, calling up a map. I propose a full demonstration. Burn a human ally world. No stealth, no silence. Let the galaxy see our fire. The room murmured. Joe Rack rose slowly. Such action will only prove their point, he said. We strike with fire while they strike with silence. We become monsters in their story, Valthar growled. So we do nothing? We prepare smarter, Jorak replied. We study them. Not chase ghosts. Coward, Valthar muttered. No, Jorak said. Just not blind. But Valthar had already sent the order. A fleet of 40 ships was heading toward a border colony allied with Earth. The Council would make an example. Earth saw the order before it was even given. Inside Halia's core, the Council's fleet movement appeared on screen before Valthar finished speaking. Grant saw it. Mason saw it. They already had a plan. They want to scare the galaxy back into place. Mason said. Grant replied. Then let's show them why fear belongs to us. The Council fleet approached the colony world of Duras 5, a peaceful planet with no defenses. Green forests. Ocean cities. They thought it would be easy. They never made it. To the surface. As the first wave of ships dropped toward the planet's atmosphere, they began vanishing. One after another, their lights flickered, and then darkness. No explosions. No gunfire. Just gone. In space, Earth stealth mines and cloaked drones activated together. The drones entered ships through vents and wiring, disabling engines and controls in silence. By the time Valthar's command ship arrived, half the fleet was frozen in space. Dead but intact, the human voice echoed across the bridge. You may burn a world, but you will never burn a shadow. Valthar screamed in rage. And Earth didn't answer. It didn't need to. After that, no one wanted to speak in Council meetings. Their fear had a shape now. A soundless, invisible shape. The Council lost the will to act. Planets began whispering about surrender. Others sent secret messages to Earth, asking for peace or mercy. Even some Council soldiers started abandoning posts. One species, the Maraxi, publicly declared neutrality. Another, the gentle Vazari, offered to open trade with Earth directly. The unity of the Council cracked like glass under pressure. Earth had not fired a single public weapon. In her office, President Grant sat alone. General Mason entered. It's spreading faster than we predicted, he said. They're falling apart, she nodded. They created an empire on fear. Now we've just shown them someone more frightening. You think they'll still attack? No, she said. They'll talk. Eventually. Mason tilted his head. What if they don't? Grant stood up and looked at Earth's flag. Then we keep walking in the dark. The Council had reached its breaking point. For weeks they had watched their fleets vanish. Colonies went silent. Trade routes collapsed. And worst of all, Earth said nothing. No declarations, no demands. Just quiet, terrifying action. But now, finally, the silence had pushed them too far. Inside the central war chamber, Councillor Valthar stood before the galaxy's most powerful leaders. His silver armor gleamed under the lights. His voice was cold and steady. We will not hide, he said. We will not fear. Earth has struck from the shadows long enough. Now we strike back. Some leaders looked uncertain. Others nodded quickly. The pressure had grown too much. The fear had to be answered. Counselor Jorak, the oldest among them, remained quiet. He knew this moment had been coming. He just hoped they were ready for the storm it would bring. The plan was simple: hit Earth where it hurt. Not Earth itself, that was still too dangerous. But a major human shipyard had been located in a deep sector. A council spy had sent coordinates. Before going dark, Valthar called it Operation Emberlight. 5 massive fleets, 200 warships, all heading to a single target. We will burn their supply lines, Valthar said. We will remind the stars who controls this galaxy. The room clapped. But Jorak did not. Make sure, he said quietly, that you are not stepping into a trap. Valthar ignored him. The council fleets launched within the hour. In the dark, frozen belt of the Takari system, Earth's shipyard floated between icy asteroids. It was massive, stretching over 10 kilometers wide. Thousands of ships were being built inside it. Small ones, fast ones, and some that didn't have names yet. Captain Alara stood on the command bridge of Watchtower 1, orbiting above the shipyard. She sipped her coffee slowly, watching the stars. Anything on long-range scans? She asked. Her officer, Lieutenant Morrow, nodded. We're picking up movement. Big movement. How big? Hundreds of ships. Council signatures. Alara lowered her cup. How long until they get here? 6 hours. She tapped the emergency channel. Get me Helia and General Mason, now. Back on Earth, General Mason stood in the war room, staring at the incoming data. Helia's voice echoed around him. They're not being careful. No stealth, no hesitation. This is a full-force attack, Mason grinned. Good. That means they're afraid. President Grant appeared on the screen above him. Do we protect the shipyard? She asked. Mason raised an eyebrow. Would you believe me if I said it didn't need protecting? Grant looked curious. Explain. Mason pointed to the blinking red dot representing the shipyard. It's bait, he said. They just took it. As the council fleets reached the Takari belt, they slowed down. The icy field was dangerous, filled with sharp asteroids and unstable gravity pockets. Valthar sat inside his flagship, eyes locked on the giant shipyard ahead. There it is, he growled. The heart of their war machine. One of his. Captain spoke. We should scan for traps. Valthar waved his hand. Their trap is fear. Ours is fire. He ordered the attack. Hundreds of ships powered up weapons. Missiles launched. Plasma beams fired. The shipyard lit up in flames. Or so it seemed. Target destroyed. Shouted one council officer. Valthar smiled. Message sent. But the smile died quickly. Sir, said the sensor officer. Something's wrong. Back in the war room on Earth, HALI's voice was calm. The decoy shipyard has been hit. False core reactor triggered. Radiation levels rising in the VUS. Council fleet. President Grant leaned forward. Are our real assets safe? Yes, Helia replied. The real shipyard is hidden behind the second moon of Takari 6. This one was a hollow frame. No crew, no ships. Only explosives and signal reflectors. Mason laughed. They hit a floating trap filled with fake data and automated alarms. Helia continued. Their ships are now covered in radioactive particles. Their sensors are blind. Grant nodded. Begin Phase 2. As the council ships pulled back from the fake shipyard, chaos began. One by one, their systems glitched. Lights flickered. Communications cut out. Engines slowed. What's happening? Shouted Valthar. A voice came through the static on every council bridge. Hello again. It was human, calm, soft. You came looking for fire. But now you will find the cold. Valthar growled. Shut that signal down. But they COULDN, single quotes T. Suddenly, Dozens of cloaked human ships appeared from behind asteroids. They had been waiting in the shadows, watching. They didn't fire. Instead, they released electromagnetic pulses, EMP blasts that didn't destroy, but disabled. Council ships spun out of control. Some drifted into asteroids. Others crashed into each other. Valthar's ship shook violently. Shields down. Navigation offline. He slammed his fist on the console. Fight back. But there was nothing to fight. The humans had already vanished again, in a quiet part of the galaxy. Agent Vega watched the battle feeds. It's done, she said. Partner, hidden in shadows beside her, smiled. They brought everything they had, and now they have nothing. Valthar's damaged ship limped back toward Council space. He stared at the broken remains of his fleet. Less than half had survived. The rest were floating debris, back in the Council chambers. Jorek stood before the silent leaders. You struck in anger, he said. You believed strength meant noise. Earth showed you otherwise. Valthar's image appeared, blood on his face. This is not over, he shouted. We will rebuild. Jorek simply turned to the others. Then ask yourselves one thing, he said. How many more fleets will we lose? Before we lose everything? No one answered. Elsewhere, in a hidden Earth outpost, President Grant stood beside a window. Looking up at the night sky. They're scared, Mason said behind her. Yes, she replied. But fear is not victory. It's only the beginning. He walked closer. Do you think they'll try again? She thought for a moment. No, she said. They'll start talking soon, quietly, carefully. They'll reach out, pretending to offer peace. And we'll listen, but never forget. They wanted us broken. She turned away from the stars. Now they know what breaking truly looks like. The galaxy waited in silence. After the failed Council attack on the decoy shipyard, everything had gone quiet. No ships moved near Earth's borders. No new threats were sent. Fear had spread like fire across star systems. But Earth was not done. They had one final message to send. Not in whispers. Not in shadows. This time, the whole galaxy would hear them. In a large, hidden station above Titan's orbit, President Grant stood inside the cold steel broadcast chamber. Around her were walls covered in signal towers and frequency relays, all tuned to reach every known system, from core Council planets to outlaw regions. General Mason stood at her side, arms folded. Are you sure about this? He asked. Grant nodded slowly. Yes, they've seen our silence. Now they'll hear our voice. Hali's avatar appeared on the central console, glowing softly. Transmission sequence ready. We are patched into every major channel. Translation. Protocols are stable. Grant stepped forward, eyes calm but sharp. She spoke into the main mic. This is Earth. The words echoed through space. Across the stars. The message appeared, on warships, in control rooms, inside political towers, in pirate dens, on distant colonies. Screens lit up. Speakers crackled. Everyone, friend, enemy, or neutral, stopped to listen. This is Earth, President Grant said again, her voice clear, steady, and cold. You tried to erase us. You sent assassins, destroyed our embassies, and slaughtered our allies. You called us weak. You thought silence was surrender. A pause. Then her tone sharpened. But silence is not surrender. It is a warning. Across the galaxy, leaders leaned in. Soldiers froze. Even criminals in backwater stations stopped laughing. We watched your council break treaties and lie. We watched you cover your crimes and smile while doing it. We counted every life you took. She paused again, letting her words sting. And now you count the cost. Councillor Jorek watched the message from his chamber. His hands were tight around his cane. Around him, other council members stood in shocked silence. President Grant's voice continued. Earth will not bow. We do not ask for war, but we are not afraid of it. If you strike, we strike deeper. If you come for one, we come for 10. We don't start fights, but we end them. The screen flickered briefly to show images fast and brutal. Council ships, drifting in wreckage. The burning ruins of the fake shipyard. Human ships cloaked in black, moving like shadows. Then the screen returned to her face. Your fleets are not safe. Your spies are not hidden. Your power is not absolute. Jorek whispered to himself. She's not speaking to us. She's speaking to everyone else. And she was. Out in the rim systems, pirates who once sold human prisoners watched in silence. Maybe we backed the wrong side. One whispered. On a desert moon, a young alien girl stared at the human leader's face. Her planet had been destroyed by a council bombing years ago. She didn't know what Earth was before today, but now she did. They fight back, she said softly, even when they're small. President Grant's voice lowered. To the innocent, we offer peace. We protect those who seek truth, freedom, and safety. Our hand is open. Then, it hardened again. But to tyrants and butchers, hear this, her eyes narrowed. Run, hide, build your fleets. Dig your bunkers. It will not matter. Earth remembers. She took one last breath. We do not forgive. We do not forget. And we do not lose. The screen went black. Inside a ship in council space. Valthar slammed his fist into a console. She dares threaten us? But even his officers looked uneasy. One said, Sir, public channels are flooded. Civilians are cheering. Some are protesting council actions. Some want peace with Earth. Valthar's eyes burned. Then silence them. But it was too late. The message had spread like fire in dry grass. And once truth reaches ears, it cannot be undone. General Mason turned away from the now dark broadcast screen. That was bold, he said. President Grant stood still. They needed to know what we are and what we are not. She walked slowly down the corridor. Now they will choose, she added. Choose? Mason asked. Grant turned back with a grim smile. Peace or destruction? In a secret location, Agent. Vega received a private ping on her secure line. She tapped it once. A message appeared. Targets changing sides. Council support fragmenting. Expect contact from non-aligned worlds. She smiled. The galaxy was shifting. Councillor Jorek met in private with 3 other senior leaders. He looked tired, older than before. But his voice was firm. This changes everything, he said. One leader, a tall insectoid named Kreth, spoke quietly. We backed the wrong war. Then we fix it, Jorek replied, or we burn. Another leader shook his head. Valthar will not back down. Then Valthar becomes the next target. They said nothing else. But the room was filled with unspoken truths. Back on Earth, Ilara watched the stars from her post aboard Watchtower 1. The galaxy felt different now. Lighter in some way, but more dangerous too. Morrow walked in behind her. Do you think it worked? He asked. Ilara nodded slowly. It wasn't just about scaring them, she said. It was about showing the ones who are scared of the council that they're not alone. Morrow smiled. So now what? Ilara turned back to the stars. Now we watch who steps forward and who runs. In a hidden listening station far from any charted map, 2 aliens watched the recording again. They wore old robes, not armor, not warriors. Just watchers. One turned to the other. She may have just ended the council. The other nodded, or forced it to finally change. They both looked at the screen, where Earth's symbol pulsed. Softly in the darkness. Either way, the galaxy would never be the same. The stars were calm. Too calm. From orbit, the Council's grand fleet sat in silence above Zither Prime, their final stronghold. Hundreds of ships formed a wall of metal and firepower. They were ready for war. Or so they thought. Admiral Vark stood on the bridge of the Immortal Crown, eyes scanning the vast formation outside his window. No Earth ship can break through this, he said coldly. Scanners still show nothing, the sensor officer replied. Vark turned with a grin. There. Afraid. But he was wrong. Far beyond the edge of Council space, deep inside a hidden asteroid base, Earth's true fleet prepared for the final strike. These were not scout ships or decoys. These were destroyers, stealth-class cruisers, and one terrifying vessel at the center, the Aegis, Earth's newest super weapon. Cloaked and silent. Inside the Aegis, General Mason studied a holographic map. Red dots marked every enemy ship above Zither Prime. Halia appeared beside him. We have uploaded the virus to every Council beacon. Once triggered, their fleet will lose comms for 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all we need, Mason said. He looked at Captain Alara, standing tall by the command rail. Her face was hard, calm. You sure you're ready for this? Mason asked. She didn't flinch, for what they did to our allies. Our diplomats? The kids on Arvin's moon? Yeah, I'm ready. Mason nodded. Then begin. Above Zither Prime. Alarms suddenly blared on every Council ship. Comes down. Targeting systems offline. Admiral Vark's smile vanished. What is happening? The bridge lights flickered. Screens turned to static. Then, from the blackness of space, they came. Earth's fleet uncloaked all at once, fast, sleek, and angry. Fighters roared forward. Bombers followed behind. The Aegis moved like a silent god through the storm. Enemy ships appearing everywhere. One officer cried. Vark gritted his teeth. Fire at will. But there was no fire. Their cannons were still rebooting. Earth struck first. On board the Aegis, Alara gave the command. Target the command ships. Disable first. Destroy second. The fleet obeyed. Within seconds, Council ships exploded in chain reactions. One by one, their formations fell apart. Without communication, they couldn't regroup. Without sensors, they couldn't defend. Earth didn't need numbers. They had precision. They had rage, and they had a plan. Deep underground on Zither Prime, Counselor Valthar shouted into a blank screen. Where is Vark? Where are the fleets? Young aide stumbled in. We can't reach them, sir. Earth hacked the relay network, the orbital defenses. They're going dark. Valthar's eyes blazed. Then send the planetary turrets. I tried, sir. They've been disabled. Silence fell. Valthar turned to the window. For the first time, he saw Earth's fleet descending through the clouds like falling stars. He stepped back. No, not like this. Back in space, the Aegis led the final charge. Earth's ships flew in perfect harmony. Each move was planned. Each shot counted. General Mason stood behind Alara. Now, the final blow, he said. She looked at him. Permission to deliver it myself? He gave a short nod. It's yours. Alara stepped forward and keyed the command. Halia, activate. Trident protocol. A moment of silence. Then the Aegis powered up. Its 3 front lances glowed blue, charging with energy no Council ship had ever seen. 3 seconds passed. Then it fired. The blast didn't just hit one ship. It pierced through 5. The beam cut clean, leaving nothing but drifting wreckage. It struck the upper atmosphere, split into smaller beams, and disabled every remaining orbital turret. Zither Prime was now wide open. A single message was sent to the planet. Surrender or be erased. Valthar stared at the screen. Around him, his guards backed away. Scientists left their consoles. The sound of footsteps echoed as staff ran from the command center. We have a bunker, his aide whispered. We could run. Valthar said nothing, because he finally knew Earth wasn't bluffing. They had held back this whole time. And now the gloves were off. On the Aegis, Mason spoke again. Do we have a reply? Halia answered. A Council diplomat is requesting terms. Alara crossed her arms. Terms? Now? Mason looked at her. Let's hear what they say. The screen blinked on. Counselor Jorak appeared, face worn but calm. General Mason. Captain Ilara, you've made your point. This isn't about a point, Mason said. It's about justice. And how many more must die for it? Jorak asked. The council is splintering. Velfar's support is vanishing. We're not all like him. Mason's voice stayed cold. Then prove it, Jorak straightened. We will arrest Velfar. We will end this war. But you must. Give us the chance. Ilara looked to Mason. You believe him? Mason paused. Then he said, if they fail, then we finish it. On Zither Prime, elite squads turned against Valthar S-guards. Gunfire echoed through the halls. By midnight, he was dragged out of his chamber in chains. He screamed all the way to the Council's War Tribunal, above the city. Earth's fleet waited. Not firing, not bombing. Just watching. And the galaxy watched too. 3 days later, a message was sent from the Council's core chamber. Jorak stood before the cameras. To all systems, to all species, the war is over. Valthar has been removed. The Council will reform. We will sign peace with Earth. His eyes dropped slightly. And we admit, we were wrong. It was the closest thing to an apology the galaxy had ever seen. Back on Earth, crowds filled the cities. Flags waved. People cried. Ships returned in formation, their hulls scorched but proud. President Grant stood on the Capitol steps. We did not want war, she said. But we fought it, and we won it. Not because we were stronger, because we refused to be broken. She looked to the sky. To our fallen we remember. To our enemies we forgive, but never forget. Inside the Aegis, Ilara sat quietly in her chair, staring at the stars. Morrow entered, holding 2 mugs. Coffee? She nodded. Thanks. He sat beside her. Feels weird, doesn't it? He said. What does? That it's over. Ilara didn't answer right away. Then she sighed. It's not over. Not really. He looked confused. We won the fight, she said. Now we keep the peace. Morrow smiled. You think the Council will actually stay honest? Ilara grinned slightly. No. But they'll think twice before crossing Earth again. In distant systems once ruled by Council fear, small colonies raised Earth's banner in thanks. On old battlegrounds, human medics treated both ally and former enemy. And in the shadows, unknown powers watched the end of the war with new respect and new fear. Because Earth had changed the rules. They didn't conquer. They didn't enslave. They came with fire, but left with honor. The war was over, but peace didn't come easy. In the weeks after Earth's final strike, the galaxy trembled with uncertainty. Systems that once feared Earth now watched them closely. Some expected revenge. Others feared occupation. But Earth didn't send conquerors. It sent builders. General Mason stood aboard the Aegis, looking down at Zither Prime's surface. Construction bots swarmed like ants, clearing ruins and setting up medical tents. Captain Ilara walked beside him, her uniform clean for once, though her eyes still showed the weight of war. They expect us to take control, she said. We're not here to rule, Mason replied. Doesn't mean they won't ask for it. A quiet beep came from the console. Hulya spoke. Transmission from Counselor Jorak. He requests a meeting. Private. Mason raised a brow. Private? Ilara crossed her arms. Sounds shady. Sounds interesting, Mason said. Let's hear him out. The meeting took place in orbit, aboard the neutral station called Horizon Vault. Built long ago by independent traders, it now served as a symbol of fragile peace. Jorak waited in the central chamber, flanked by only 2 guards. His robes were dark blue. His face looked older than ever. He greeted Mason and Ilara with a bow. Thank you for coming, he said. You asked for privacy, Mason said. So talk. Jorak didn't waste time. The Council is breaking apart. Half the members have left. Some want revenge. Others want Earth to lead. The rest are confused. And what do you want? Alara asked. Joe Rack looked at them both. I want survival. And something better than what we had. He pulled up a small data chip and handed it to Mason. This contains names, coordinates, locations of secret weapons, labs and criminal cells once protected by the old council. Why give us this? Mason asked. Because I believe Earth can be more than a hammer, Jorak said quietly. It can be the new foundation. Mason studied the chip. And what's your price? Jorak smiled faintly. No price. Just a seat at the new table. Later, back on the Aegis, Mason held the chip between his fingers. Ilara sat across from him, watching. You trust him? She asked. No, Mason said. But he's not wrong. Ilara leaned forward. You thinking what I'm thinking? That this war didn't end. It just changed form. She nodded. So what now? Mason stood up and looked out the window. We clean up what they left behind. We end the corruption. We help the weak. And we make sure this galaxy never needs another war like the last one. He paused. We don't build an empire. We build an order. News spread quickly. Earth launched the Starward Alliance, a coalition of worlds, not ruled by force, but joined by mutual defense, fairness, and shared rebuilding. Some systems joined at once. Others hesitated. A few rebelled, on the edges of old Council territory. The warlord known as Koresh the Crimson refused the Alliance's call. He gathered broken fleets, mercenaries, and black market weapons. He wanted to rebuild the Council in his own image. He began raiding colonies that supported Earth. Earth responded. A small Alliance fleet, led by Commander Rena, arrived at a colony under attack. Shields are down. The colony's governor cried. Through the comes. They're bombing our power plants. Rena's fleet moved fast. Weapons locked, her officer said. Rena's eyes narrowed. Fire on their engines. Leave escape pods intact. The battle was short, clean. Koresh's fleet scattered. Many surrendered. Rena opened a channel to the colony. You're safe now. Welcome to the Alliance. The people cheered. And across the stars, others heard. But peace is never perfect. In a dark system near the galactic rim, deep in an abandoned station, something ancient awakened. A long-dormant AI, built during the early wars, blinked back to life. Its code was corrupted. Its mission, unclear, but its memory still whispered the name of Earth. And it remembered war. Back on Earth, in the capital city of New Geneva, President Grant held a meeting with Mason, Ilara, and representatives from 12 newly joined species. A large star map floated in the center of the room. Mason spoke first. We've stopped 6 uprisings in the last month. Most were former council supporters. A blue-skinned delegate nodded. Our own system faced a rebel fleet. But your Marines helped save our world. We are grateful. Grant smiled. Gratitude is welcome, but action is better. She pointed at the map. We need peace officers. A joint defense force, not just humans. We fight together or fall apart again. The delegates murmured. Then one by one, they agreed. And so the Starward Defense Corps was born. Later that night, Ilara stood on the balcony of the Aegis, watching lights flicker across the stars. Morrow joined her. He carried a small silver badge. What's that? She asked. They're calling it the Sentinel Pin, he said. Issued to officers in the new corps. He handed it to her. You earned it. She took it, eyes thoughtful. I didn't fight this war to wear medals. No, Morrow said. You fought it so no one else would have to. She gave him a small smile. And yet here we are, still fighting. Not the same kind, though, he replied. Now we fight to build. In a council chamber like years. Away, a shadowed figure watched the rise of Earth's alliance with growing dread. They move fast, a voice said beside him. Too fast, the shadow replied. Then we slow them down. He tapped a panel. Activate Protocol Echo. Let the past haunt them. The next morning, Hilia's voice rang out on the Aegis. General Mason, urgent message. A fleet has gone. Missing near the Zarna Belt. No distress signals, no debris. Mason frowned. Pirates? Halia hesitated. Unknown. Their last signal mentioned a shape in the dark. Alara stood beside him. New enemy? Or old, Mason said grimly. He turned to his crew. Set course. We end this before it begins. And the stars waited once more, across the galaxy. A new order had begun, not through domination, not through fear, but through unity, strength, and the courage to stand when others ran. Earth had changed the game. Now came the challenge of keeping the peace. And for the first time in galactic history, it looked like peace might have a chance.